begin, and Vincent Duggleby is going to initiate us into the mysteries of the St. Vincent manual WA.
Okay, right. Well, this is a labour of love, as you'll appreciate, and it's the identification of the plate positions of all 60 stamps has been generally sort of leading to the next day, next week, or next year. Peter Jaffe sort of got it going in 1970 with a piece in the London Philatelist. It was okay, but it wasn't by any means complete, and he didn't have the tools at his disposal that I've been able to get, notably the Peter Jaffe collection, and before that the Stephen Sharp collection, and before that the Body Messenger collection. So I ended up with something like 500 stamps to work with. And believe you me, 60 stamps, that's just about right. You can reckon out every single position, some many times over, some maybe only one or two. But it becomes possible, and you'll see there's two previous to the final one. There are two, for example, in different states of completion, showing that if I find one missing, right, stick it on the sheet in the right position. Now, you have to understand a little bit about St. Vincent and its record with overprints. Who actually collects St. Vincent? Okay, right, well, in 1880 they produced, I think, half pence on, halfpenny on half sixpence, and there was a penny on sixpence as well, where they bisected it. And they used the overprint, obviously, to meet the requirements of the UPU, which is brought in the time Halfpenny rate and the Halfpenny rate. So they had form. And the submission about all these things, they were done as a racket, but in this case, it was not clear at all. And I've generally proved, I think, to most people's satisfaction, that this was a genuine overprint, albeit there was speculation in it. It was a genuine overprint, and it was used, and I can prove the usage, the exact usage, the time of the packet, and essentially what stamps went on what mail. So that's the background to it, and we'll see two ways of doing it. First of all, there's what I call the basic collection, which is on the left-hand side there. And then there are other pages which represent some of the material I was working with. So you can look and see, well, I see he's got 4 copies of that particular, number 42 or something. He's got several copies of it. Now, what I was able to do was to reconstruct 100% of the sheet. But of course, it's made up of different stamps. So one of the things I did was I first of all constructed the sheet using all multiples. So that's all very well. The trouble was it's an awful lot of overlap. So you're not getting value for money if you've got a block of 6, which only yields 1 stamp because you've already got the others covered. So gradually I was able to remove the blocks and replace it with pairs and singles, which enables one to do a very good, accurate position of the finished sheet, which is at the top line there. That's the sheet which is complete and correct. So then you need to know a little bit about how it was done. Well, it was done in 2 forms of 30 stamps. That's 30 at the top and 30 at the bottom. And the overprints, that's the penny, the 1 and the D, occur twice in the same format for the overprint, top and bottom. Now you could say, well, why do you need 60? Well, because you need 60 because the sheet on which it was done was a 60 sheet. And they overprinted it with 2 forms of 30. So that way we can tell on the very obvious ones like the listed serif or something, that if it appears on number 1, it will also appear on number 31. But we also have to establish, do we know what the floors, the original sheet floors are, i.e. 1 and 31, do we know which stamp that is? Because there's going to be the same overprint, but different stamp, if that's clear, I hope. Now, Peter Jaffe used stamps which were really not a good idea. He used sheets. But unfortunately, the sheets were in a state of not very good wear. The penny had been around for about 15 years before he put his copy up. And the Tuppenny Halfpenny penny had been around, well, certainly about 10 or 12 years. What I have is the Earl of Crawford's complete sheet of the Tuppenny Halfpenny on a penny maroon, with, of course, all the floors on that sheet, which would repeat themselves on the penny on top, second on penny. And that's really important because that printing, 1882, was only 3 years old. It was only used once for that. So we can take it that sheet is pretty well pristine. If there's a flaw in it, you can see it, and you can take it straight across to the overprint. And that was really extremely valuable. Yes, I did use the penny a bit, when I wanted to cross-check, but it wasn't essential. What I would have loved to have had, but it doesn't exist, is a sheet of the penny drab, which was the predecessor in terms of the penny red. The penny drab would have been shown with less wear. In fact, very little wear. So there we have the general background. And Peter Jaffe said that he was not inclined to worry about the overprint itself. In other words, he did his plating study largely reliant on the penny and the Tuppenny Halfpenny, albeit worn plates, and therefore liable to throw up random coverage. I want one as pristine as possible, and that's that sheet there. Now, so I rely on constant variations on the overprint, and I use as a supplementary aid to determine whether they occur in the upper or lower half of the sheet. This improves the chances of identifying the 15 most difficult positions in the original study, and I can now identify single copies of reasonable confidence, and I can plate them in all four positions, 22, 29, 39 and 49, and these can be proved by multiples. That doesn't mean to say I'm not able to put 22, 29, 39 and 49 in as singles. I can, because I can use a block to cover the position. But I prefer, where possible, to use single stamps because it makes it easier to see. So if I give you an example of methodology, if you consider the broken serif on the right-hand base of the figure 1, this occurs in row 3, stamp 6, and row 6, stamp 6. It's number 26 and number 56. To distinguish between the two stamps, you concentrate on the E of Vincent. On 56, there's a clear diagonal line from the upright running up to the central crossbar. If it isn't there, then you're looking at number 26. In row 1 and row 4, stamp 1, the damaged top of the figure 1 is found. It shows as a nick out of the top right-hand side. And the fact that you are looking at a left marginal copy can be confirmed by the fact that the cancelling bars are usually, but not invariably, short on the left-hand side. The best way of ascertaining the relative position is to examine the first N of Vincent, where you will see a small dot of colour in the middle of the diagonal stroke. And if you see a small dot of colour in the middle of the diagonal stroke, you're looking at number 31. Now, all these have been, they've been cross-checked with the originals, and to make sure that I haven't made a mistake, I was using something like 20 or 30% magnification to confirm this. And I would take us down, and I would look at a thing and say, what am I looking for? Okay, I'm going to look and see if I've got a small dot of colour in the diagonal stroke. So put it there, you look at it, you say, right, fix it in your mind. Now, test copies, 10, 20, 30, until you pull them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there you've got it. So that's how that started. So that basically tells you how the methodology of plating works. Now, I'm sure many of you have done this, and some of them are easy. In the case of this, the very simplest ones you can do with the naked eye is damaged top of 1, stub on the serif, the right-hand base of figure 1, top serif bent upwards, lower serif D missing, serif D missing, short serif, right-hand base 1. So there are a number of ones that you can just pick out straight away. But some of them are quite difficult. And they're quite difficult because bear in mind that, first of all, the penny sheet is partly obscured by the Tuckman's Halfpenny, and then both the penny bits and the Tuckman's Halfpenny are obscured by the penny. So, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you're lucky, and the perforations they've cut the sheet just to give you a bit more space. So it's quite easy to do the plater's marks. They will tell you very clearly. You see the printer's plating mark, and you will know that goes into one of, 6 positions or something. So that's useful. Now, the other thing which Peter Jaffe didn't attempt was the justification of what this stamp is for. Because as I said earlier, many people think it was just a ramp, and the speculators, the Hazels of this world, bought up the stuff and flogged it off at a profit to the English collectors. Well, yes and no. Certainly they did do this, but there was a genuine need for it, and there was a lot of copies were actually used for postal purposes. And I illustrate this by saying that, first of all, let's listen to what Frank Griffith, who was the colonial postmaster, told Edward Bacon for the Clerk Society. 201 sheets of 60 were surcharged, 12,060 of which 300 were spoiled and destroyed, which reduces the total of 11,760, some of which were probably not in complete sheets because they'd been broken into for whatever reason. And we also know that the supplies of penny drab, that's the SG39, were running seriously low. And we know from the calendar study of the penny drab, and the calendar study of the penny on penny and the penny red have got to dovetail together to make sense of what they found in the post office to use for their normal mail. So we're interested, obviously, in these points at which they join. Now, the Lieutenant Governor Augustus Gore wrote a letter on the 7th of January 1885 asking for 300 sheets of horns and 1,000 sheets of 1 penny. That's the penny red. Okay? And they were to be forwarded at the earliest opportunity. But 7th of January 1885, not much time to get the stuff printed in London. That's the sheets without the local print on. And he sent it off to the De La Rue, which arrived on the 27th of January. And they said that it would be completed within 4 weeks. So 22nd of January, 22nd of March, maybe. Too tight.
February.
Sorry, too tight, because they were running out. We know they were running out of stamps. So there's no doubt about it when they heard that it was going to take that long, that they had to do something, because no point trying to lick Hayley stamps, people didn't like doing that. So there we are, they're out of the relevant, most popular denomination, and so they make the decision, okay, we'll have to overprint some existing stamps. Well, I haven't got any pennies, so they couldn't do that. But the sixpence and the shilling and things, well, that was not time. So they chose the tuppence halfpenny on a penny, which was in stock, and it had become less used than they expected. It wasn't a very popular stamp, so there were more available sheets of tuppence halfpenny on a penny than on any other denomination which was feasible. Right, then, we've got to, now the consignment, this is the consignment of the penny red, which they needed. That missed the packet on Monday the 2nd of March, which would arrive on the 19th of March. We know that because we got the delivery dates and they missed that packet. So that meant that the next one was going to be 14 days later. So hadn't got them on the 19th of March. Add 14 days, which takes us up to whatever it is. It's Sunday, it's early April anyway. So one needs to show what happened and when the stamps actually went on sale in the post office. And for that you need clearly cancelled used values for all the days when the stamp was on sale in the post office. And there is a sheet which shows every day, illustrated with a stamp of that day, with a K and the date, and showing you what they were doing in this fortnight of use. And it's clear that it was there, it was available in the post office, and people used it for legitimate purposes. And there are two covers which are contemporary. They are contemporary covers, in other words, they are within period. One is the fourth strip of 4, and the other is sundry ones stuck on. And those are both postally used, correctly postally used. The top one is Bobby Messenger. The bottom one has a story of its own. It was actually in Jaffe's collection. It's got faded stamps on it, and it isn't very attractive. But the bonus was that he hadn't sorted his stuff properly because he hadn't mounted it all. I found the missing stamp because there was one missing, And Jaffe had it in his lot, but he just obviously hadn't attached it, so that's why you'll see that's, I've put stamp added, but it must be right because it fits the postmark. So there we are. What else do we need to know? The district offices, did they get copies? Did they get these stamps? Well, some of them did. Some of them didn't. Michael Hamilton's pointed out because one or two post offices got old stamps. The penny on sixpence turns up. The penny black turns up in Layou, so we can confidently say that Layou didn't have any penny on tuppence halfpenny. But it isn't, unfortunately, although I show a page of village cancellations, it doesn't actually prove that those stamps were used at the village because they could have been bought in Kingston, stuck on an envelope and shoved in the post at Calliaqua. So you've got that Calliaqua didn't have the stamp, but somebody brought in an envelope which had the stamp. We don't know. Right, so what else have we got to say about this? Let's just check, look at my notes here. How did the printers do this? Well, they didn't have much time, that's for sure, and they only had about probably a couple of weeks to set up the forms and get everything sorted. And I reckon they were probably, I say the first printing would have been quite small in case the new stamps had arrived on the 19th of March, so they didn't. So they did a second release to meet the demand of the packet, leaving for the UK and Europe on Saturday the 28th of March, which was in advance of the 2nd of April when the new stamps did arrive. So what's the difference between the two? Well, the thing that interests me about it is where the serifs break off, they get damaged in some way. And I think that probably shows that they did have the two sort of slightly similar two printings. Because if they finished the first one and then they found that some of these were damaged, they might have replaced them. I've only got two which meet this test, so you can't say I can show that it was conclusively when and how these serifs broke. But the typeface was obviously not too sound. So what else is coming to the end of it? Now, I've concentrated obviously on the K cancellations because they're the contemporaneous ones, but a lot of stamps were left in stock, and they were bought by speculators. So unless you're specially interested, don't buy them with the full Kingston CDS on it. They're out of the period, and it's just, well, there's no point in having them in my view. You should stick to the actual K dated cancellations, and then you know they were used in the mail on those dates. I mentioned the two covers. What did I say here? Yes, of among the village. Calliaqua has 6 in period examples. There are 2 each for Colonari and Union. Singles for Barley, Bayaboo, Chevalier, Cumberland, Rabica, and Stubbs. There's a posthumous example from Mesopotamia, 1886, and I believe the owner of that is here because he told me he had it. But I've heard nothing from Buckingham, Layou, or verifiably from Georgetown. Well, Layou, we know, didn't have it. Buckingham going to pass on, maybe around. But it still didn't mean that people weren't entitled to use any 1 penny stamp they could get their hands on. So, you know, if they wanted to, they could have used sixpence, the 8 and half sixpence if they wanted to. And some of these philatelic complications that appear on covers later, well, no. I mean, you'll find this stamp on covers which are just completely implausible. I mean, they just stamp stuff willy-nilly. So I don't bother with any of those at all. So there you are. Now, I'm aware that it's a technical one. Probably I can help you best by pointing some of these things out. Does anybody want any questions? I hope I've not sort of...
Did you mention the guideline copies?
The guideline copies? Yes, the guideline copies are on the bottom and the sides, and they're in there, yes, and they're clearly, you can tell the positions. It's all right. This incidentally is the way it's annotated. This is the upper half, showing each stamp and telling you what you look for. So starting from here, you take this and then you go over to the enlarged copies, which have been marked with red lines so you can see exactly what the flaws are there. So I mean, for example, number 1, that's the one which is left hand side. damaged top of one. It's a notch, you can see it. What you can't see so well is the two dots in the top right margin, again marked on the stamp so you can see it. So that's the second proof. And then you check for the cancelling bars, which are short at the left, which they always are. They're short at the left, long at the right. Then stamp 2, there is a short vertical line in the top right-hand margin. I think that's the vertical line which you're referring to. And it's down. The easiest one to see is on the bottom row. Then you can just see the printer's mark. It's also on the sides. It's a useful one. It's difficult sometimes. It's very frustrating when you look at the stamp and think, the surcharge has just got across the place where you wanted to check. There was some.
What I was actually.
Could we leave any further questions until afterwards? Otherwise,
Yes,
we'll start running out of time.
Indeed, yes, we are running out of time. But I'm very happy to talk any of you through. I hope it's not been too hard work. It's the result of about 20
I imagine about a 40-year labour of love.
Oh.